Good evening. Welcome to the QCIS channel. Where on this channel, you get a daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and math. My name is Leon Jones, and tonight I'm going to talk about the importance of taking the fundamentals of engineering examination. And I will say this, I didn't do it, and it gets much harder when you get out of school. You're working, and sometimes the jobs that you have, they don't even apply to what you got your degree in. Like, for instance, myself, yeah, I work in the construction industry. And I'm a construction inspector. Now, the problem with being a construction inspector is I have to compete with individuals who don't have as much education as I have. They may have the experience, or they may have what I call a certificate, a feel-good certificate, but they don't have the knowledge when it comes to breaking out the theory when it comes to solving issues, because every issue cannot be solved out in the field. Now, I have taken the fundamentals of engineering examination and failed it a couple of times, so I'm getting ready to take it again. Now, first of all, what is the fundamentals of engineering examination? I want to give you a definition right now on what it is. Now, the FE, or Fundamentals of Engineering exam, is the first step in the process of becoming a licensed engineer. That's to get your PE. It's a computer-based exam developed and administered by the National Council of Examiners for Engineering and Surveying. That's known as NCEES. Now, the FE exam assesses general engineering knowledge and is typically taken by recent graduates or those close to completing their undergraduate engineering program from an EAC ABET accredited program. Now, let me tell you, that is true 100% of the time, but what if you got a degree in engineering technology and it was also from an ABET accredited program? Well, it's not EAC, it's ETAC. And basically, right around 76 to 80% of the states will allow individuals, as long as they have the work experience as well, because you have to look at your state boards. You have to make sure your degree is accredited by ABET as well. You can also have a master's degree, which when you go for your PE, it's going to reduce the amount of work experience so you can take the next step. So you have to remember the FE exam is the first step to getting your PE, and it will help you in your career. Now, the reason why it's very important that you pass that exam, and by the way, you can take any exam. There are going to be some questions on that. What if I am a chemical engineer major? Can I take the FE environmental? Yes, you can. It does not matter what discipline you take. There are civils who take the other disciplines exam. I know I've taken the other disciplines exam. Now, basically, there are resources out there that you can use to study. I know Lindbergh is still out there, but you must study with up-to-date materials and utilize the 2020 specifications. So basically, anything that's 2019 and prior, it's basically no good. But I do understand that there's not much change when it comes to statistics, engineering, economics, and the physics courses, which are basically all mechanics courses such as statics, dynamics, and mechanical material and mechanics of materials. And you also have thermodynamics. Those are the general ones. And in fact, don't take any of these exams lightly. Now, share my screen again and show you something. This right here is the Bible. The new one is out. This is actually the new one that I downloaded. It's FE Reference Handbook 10.5. I have 10.4, the hard copy, but this is 10.5. And in this book, this is what you're going to use when you take your exam. It's on computer. So what you have to learn how to do is you have to search. Like here on my computer, let's say if I want to find fluid mechanics, right? What I'm going to do here on my computer, I'm actually going to type it in, fluid mechanics, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And it's going to take me to fluid mechanics. It's almost like your control F, or let's have Darcy's equation. It didn't take me to fluid mechanics, but let me try Darcy's equation. Try Darcy's equation. And this is what you're going to have to do when you're taking the test. You're going to have to learn how to search this manual for all of the equations. And there are also conceptual equations in there. Actually, it's not finding, so we'll go this way. Here are all your fluid mechanics equations right here. These are all of them. Don't have to memorize anything, but you have to be quick enough to find all of the equations, and you have to look at what the questions are asking. Understand what's given. And you have everything that you need, your conversion factors. You have them right here. You even have your constants up here. If I want to go from acre to square feet, it's going to tell me what to do. I'm going to multiply by 43,560. If I want to go backwards, I'm going to divide. That's what's in this book. If you want to know about engineering economics, here is the section right here. Again, I'm giving you the updated version. Now, some of the areas where you can go to get information on the FE exam, I prefer Direct Hub, Farouk. Sign up for him, EET. That's another one. I know individuals for prep courses want to go to School of PE or PP to pass. Very expensive. If you want to do that, you can do that. The best thing you can do is work problems and understand the concepts. If you fail, you come back and take it again. I'm getting ready to take it again. But you must know this book. Mechanics of materials. Everything is listed. Statics, chemistry. If you're asked, what are molarities of solutions? You could be asked that in, let's say, a conceptual question, because every item on that test now is not calculation based. You're going to have some fill in the blanks. You're going to have some drag and drops. You're going to have some matching. And some of the matching isn't in this book. Now, something else you need to know when it comes to this exam. I'm going to go to, let's see if I can go to NCEES and share this with you right here. Here's some information right here. This is from Oklahoma. This is where the PowerPoint came from. Find different sources out there. get into a prep course. Bottom line is, I'm just going to tell you from the get-go, this is a very important exam. And I'm going to tell you, if you are working in a certain field out there, you got to understand this exam, it can only help you. It will not hurt you. In fact, it will decrease the competition. You see, you have a number of people that come in and want to be techs. These are individuals that may have associate's degrees, and you can do whatever you want to do. But I'm just giving you the information on when you get a degree in engineering or engineering technology, or you have any desire of being an engineer, take the test. Take it while you're in school. If you can't take it while you're in school, get a prep class. It's $225. It is all worth it. I'm going to tell you, because when you have the PE, I don't care what other certification is out there. Yeah, you can say the PMP, the project management professional. That's a good one. But the gold standard is the PE. It's just like the bar exam. It's just like the RN. It's just like the CPA. You will be able to go much further in your career when you pass the FE and then you go to your PE. Now, let me share my screen again and let me show you some information here, as I have it right here. So I'm trying to bring it up. Really let me bring it up. Okay. So this is what you get for all of your specifications right here. Go tap on those and look those up as well. Let me see if I can share. Here we go. I'm going to share them with you. Now, apologize for the technical difficulties. Now, this is where you need to come to get your information. Now, what I like about this site is, okay, you can go back and you can see the pass rates. Now, you look at, and this is up to July of 2025. They basically update it, looks like every 6 months. And you can see how many people took the chemical, now most people who really look at it, they take the civil, followed by the mechanical, then followed by the electrical, then followed by the environmental, then the other disciplines, then the chemical, and then the industrial engineering. Now, if you look at everything, it looks like the test has gotten a little harder, but still ranking pretty high up there. Mechanical is pretty high, and there are a lot of students who took the mechanical. Now, when you look at the other disciplines, it's actually the lowest. Not by much, though. Not by much. But you have to figure in other branches or disciplines of engineering who also took the other disciplines, and they take the other disciplines because, for the most part, if they go into, let's say, biomedical or biological or architectural engineering, there is no discipline specific examination for that particular engineering discipline. So you have to look at why the other disciplines is lower than the rest. Now, I will say this, it used to be the other disciplines was the easiest one, but people take it for granted. They think it's easy. Oh, you have to study that one, like you study every other examination. Now, let's go to some what you need to actually look at so you can study for the exam. These are the specifications based on the 2020 standards. Now, believe it or not, I believe in 2026 or 2027, these specifications are going to change. Not going to really change that much, but they're going to change or probably put more conceptual questions on the exam. But right here, this is an outline. It'll tell you how many problems are going to be, and I'm utilizing the civil right now. And if you look at it, it's going to tell you what subjects you have to study, how many problems per subject that you need to study. Now, I will tell you this. Your math, your ethics, your engineering economics, followed by your dynamics, your materials, your fluid mechanics, and even your surveying. And your mechanics and materials and statics. This is all the general stuff. Math. Know all these subjects because these are free points. It's when you get down to your bigger subjects like water resources and structural and geotechnical and transportation and construction. These are going to be the harder problems. So you have to be well versed with the FE handbook to find the equations. Now, basically, what I'm telling you is when you do these problems, you're supposed to spend 2 to 3 problems. Correction, 2 to 3 minutes on each problem. And you need a calculator. I have a calculator right here. This is a good one, the TI-36. You can also use the Casio. You can use the HP. I believe it's the 35S. Although with the HP calculators, I know they have the algebraic way of utilizing a calculator. They have a lot of Polish logic. I don't want to go through the Polish logic. But with the TI-36X X Pro, and also you can't get this one in the United States, but this is the TI-30X Pro, which has actually a better screen than the TI-36X Pro. You have to get it overseas, but I use this calculator and it does wonders. The interface is the same as it is for the TI-36X Pro. I have both of them. Now, what I like about the TI-36X Pro is I can do statistics, integrals, I can do systems of equations, quadratic equations, I can do logarithms, I can do permutations and combinations, I can do derivatives, I can do mixed fractions, because in some of these problems, you're going to have some mixed fractions as well. But I'm just giving you an idea of what you need to look for. Now, this is the civil. Now, I'll take you through the rest of them. As I go back, and let me find that information again. This is the civil. Now, if you're taking chemical, this is the chemical right here. Take you through all 7 of them. Now, the chemical, if you really look at it as I'm scrolling up and down, chemical and environmental are very, very similar. Now, when I look at the chemical and environmental, well, let me look at the chemical for the most part. Well, if you think about it, you take the chemical, you're almost, if you look at a lot of these subjects, because you have about 17 different subjects, I would say you could do these problems. This right here is, you have some overlap with the other disciplines and the environmental. and with the mechanical. Now, let me take you to another one. Electrical and computer. A lot more math. See, one thing you need to know about these are called discipline specific examinations. They go into a little bit more in depth with the subject matter. So when it comes to electrical, you're going to see a lot more math. But when it comes to, the big thing when it comes to electrical, you need to know your circuits. Thevenin's theorem, Ohm's law, linear systems, electronics. It's heavy in math. And you need to know Laplace transfers or Laplace transforms, microcomputer, logic gates. This right here is the outline for you to see, do you want to take this exam? Steady state, electrical materials. Let's go to the one I took before. This is the environmental. I call this the sub of the chemical, but it has some civil in there as well. Now, if you look at this, if you want to avoid statics, dynamics, and mechanics of materials, and you have a chemistry background, you could take this one or the chemical, but you look at where all of your heavy subjects are: fluid mechanics, surface water, groundwater, wastewater, air quality. All of this information is in the handbook or the reference handbook. Now, what you need to understand about taking these tests too, do not strive to get a 100%. You need a 70. The exam is graded on a scaled score. It's not curved, it's just graded on a scaled score. Now let's take to the environmental. These are all the subjects that you need for environmental. Now, if you know engineering, economics, and statistics, well, industrial engineering is heavy on those two subjects. It's also heavy on manufacturing, heavy on quality, but it's basically heavy on statistics and engineering economics. And it has a lot of material that deals with statistics. I know I was going to be an industrial engineer one time and I didn't want to deal with the statistics. Although I like statistics, but it is a heck of a lot of statistics. DEMIAC, ANOVA. This is what you get in the industrial engineering curriculum. And one thing about industrial engineering, I will tell you, what makes it difficult, there are not a lot of study materials. It's like a pretty niche market. Every industrial engineering program in college isn't the same, although they have similarities, but I know there's some differences. It's just like environmental engineering. It's a niche. Now, environmental engineering, what you can do to really, there are a few ways you can attack environmental engineering. Number one, you can take the environmental engineering exam, but if you didn't have all the environmental engineering courses, you can take the civil because it also has an environmental section in it. See, what I'm getting to you is it doesn't matter what FE you take, you just want to pass it. Now, here are two that are very, very similar. I mean, when you go to school, some of the courses you learn are mechanics based. And when they're mechanics based, you know where they go right to: mechanical engineering. Now, this is what the mechanical engineering one looks like. You still got a lot of statics. Dynamics is big. Mechanics of materials is big. Material properties and processing. That's pretty big. Fluid mechanics, thermodynamics, heat transfer. The small one here is your measurements, your instrumentation and controls. It's not much study for that. So your last big one is your mechanical design and analysis. You learn a lot of those subjects in school, particularly if you are going for mechanical engineering, aerospace engineering, civil engineering. So those courses are going to be more familiar because you take them in your first 2 years. Everybody take, we call them weed out classes. Now, something else. What if you don't want to take a discipline specific exam? Well, it's called, I call this the general one. And I actually like this one because, see, this is, let's say if somebody got a BSc or BSET. What a BSc is a Bachelor of Science in Engineering, and a BSET is a Bachelor of Science in Engineering Technology. So you basically take a little bit from each discipline. And this one, if you study it properly, you can actually pass it. Everything in the handbook is what's in these courses here. Safety and health. You have a little bit of everything. Now, the biggies here are statics, dynamics, strength materials, fluid mechanics, basic electrical engineering, and thermodynamics. Now, what I like about this one is, unlike the discipline-specific exams, like mechanical, well, you have thermodynamics and heat transfer, they're not together. Now, there is a lot of overlap between mechanical engineering and the other disciplines. Here's the difference. With mechanical engineering, you don't have the chemistry and you don't have the safety. With the other disciplines, you don't have the machine design. But if you understand what goes on here, you pass this one, you're going to be golden. You pass any of them, you're going to be golden. This right here is the first stop. And when you pass this, and I'm going to tell you why it's important. And I'm finding out the hard way too. This is important because let's say you're applying for a job. You're applying for a job where when you don't have it, even if you have degrees, like you're going to work for DOT, you want to be a transportation construction inspector. Well, even though you have the education and the experience, you have more competition. Because right now, when there's not a lot going on, you had people that left the state and went out to consultants to work as inspectors. Now they want to come back because the consultants don't have any work. So that's a lot of competition. So you're in, I call it the peasant class, where you want to get over there to the club, get the FE. And also there's another one out there too, called the FS. That's for surveying. I'll talk about that next video. But what I'm giving you is the framework. But again, let me not let me continue on what I said. So I don't want to mince anything up. You want to take this exam. Again, if you're applying for a technician position, you don't have it, you're going to be over here where everybody's applying for technician positions. Even if they don't have degrees, you're right over here. You don't want to be over here. Now, I'm not knocking these positions, but you have more competition. But if you pass the FE examination, your competition is lessened. Why? Because these individuals over here, let alone having an engineering degree, they don't have anything but experience. Experience alone is not going to get you to the top. And it's important. That's why I'm really stressing it, and it's going to help me out. Look at Genie Prep, look at Direct Hub, look at EET. I know some people are going to go with School of PE, PP2 Pass. Get it done. Get study groups. It's an important exam, and that's why I'm stressing it hard. Now, I'm giving you the definition. So now we're going to tighten up. All right. Engineering licensure. Now, I've already done this. This is a review. I did it with the Old Dominion University PowerPoint, but I'm doing this with the Oklahoma State because I want everybody, if you got an engineering degree, take this thing. Now, the engineering licensure, a path to opportunity. What is an engineer? Engineer is an individual who uses his or her mathematical and engineering science skills to produce products and systems that are useful to mankind. Why do we have a license? Well, in order to safeguard life, health, and property and to promote the public welfare. 5 reasons to get licensed. And these are important. Prestige. Again, you want to be in that club, they have that license. They're going to look at you a lot different when you have that license than when you don't. And then you have career development, authority. Yes, people don't understand. When you have that PE, you're going to be a manager. You can sign plans. You are managers. If you don't even work for the government, you can open up your own consulting firm. You can do expert witness. You can teach. Again, goes to number 4, flexibility. And then you have money, more money. You call the shots. This is why you want to have that piece of paper known as the gold. I call that the gold standard. Once you take the FE and PE, it's a gold standard. All right, the path to licensure. Pass the fundamentals of engineering exam. That's the FE. You get an EIT certificate. And you can put those letters after your name, either EI or EIT. Graduate from an ABET program with a degree in engineering. Obtain 4 years of progressive engineering experience following the date of your degree. Pass the principles and practice of engineering examination. Well, they have it now to where you can actually, without the work experience, go and take your PE. But then if you pass it, you can still document your work experience and you'll get I believe you get your PE license after you have a certain amount of work hours when you pass the PE. In other words, you don't have to wait 4 years. Take it after, and that's in some states, I believe. Some states you still have to wait 4 years, 5 years. But nevertheless, I'm just going to say this. I made the mistake when I took the FE, I didn't continue with it. I took it every 4 years, and I had a lot of work to do. And you forget some of the material. And I didn't properly prepare. So I'm properly preparing for it this time. I want everybody out there, if you have an engineering degree, engineering technology degree, take the exam. If you fail it, take it again. I failed it before, a couple of times. Again, the path begins with the FE, the Fundamentals of Engineering Examination. Why take the FE exam? That's to pursue the PE license. Career advancement. Very important. Professional career advancement. Because if you're working for somebody and they want to fire you, you can tell them, hey, I got mine, I can go get something else. You're in the market. Yeah, that's why you have more mobility, more earning power, and a lot more flexibility in career prospects. Because even professors now, even the ones with PhDs, they have it. No, you know what? Never know when you'll need it. And you can use that PE in areas that you don't need design. I just mentioned engineering, law, teaching, expert witness, forensic engineering. I believe that you have to design an engineer. You can be a project manager, a real project manager. And again, once you pass the FE, it's something else you need to know. It's nationwide. It's good forever. That's right. The FE is because some people don't even go take the PE. They'll just go ahead and be a long time EI, but you still have a lot of prospects. And it's accepted in all 50 states and numerous U.S. territories, like the U.S. Virgin Islands. You may take the exam anytime, but pass rates are highest during your last 2 semesters of school. Very true, because you have everything retained that you have taken in school. Average pass rate drops from 75% to 52%. Well, because also you have to look at it. The exam used to be with pencil and paper, and they gave you a reference manual. So the old exam had 180 questions. Everybody took the general portion in the morning. And then in the afternoon, it was 60 questions. So it's 120 questions in the morning, 60 questions in the afternoon. It used to be an 8-hour exam. It's all on computer now. Bottom line is, the pass rates go up and down. Now, of course, I will say that if you look at it, now these are 2015. This is the first time that the exam actually went on computer, but look at the pass rates. You look at how many people took the mechanical and the FE. Look at how many people took the civil. Now, industrial, for the most part, has, for the most part, the lowest pass rate. Why? Because not a lot of people take the exam. But this was back in 2015. This was that whole year, 2015. But you look at 80 and 81%. That's because these two exams almost mimic each other. Now, if you look at the environmental and chemical as well, they almost mimic each other as well. You look at the scores, but you look at civil. Civil has a lot more people taking it. That's why you need to look at everything carefully. Now, I'm a fan of either taking mechanical, even though I majored in civil, because I have this material memorize, mechanical and other disciplines. And then you decide what PE you want to take. PE is the PE, but that's a gold standard. Better than, even to me, better than the PMP. Now I'm not knocking those other certifications, but they came out, and I call them extortionary and feel good certifications, because those are for people who didn't have any desire to go to school. They just worked and they didn't have a particular career path. So what helps them is getting some type of certification like APII or CPII or certified construction manager. Not knocking them, but they're not as good, in my humble opinion, as the FEP. Now you can get those certifications after you get the FEPE, and it's still going to put you in a much better position. I'd rather have the PE and the PS. Nobody can tell you anything then, because you met all the requirements. Now, of course, there's responsibility to having the FE. Now, for the FE, because I'm just talking about the FE right now, you don't have to worry about paying to keep it up. In other words, for the PE, you have to continuously pay money, take PDHs to maintain your license. You do. It's a racket. But having that is going to get you a lot further when you don't. Mark my word. Again, here's some other pass rates. Pretty good pass rates then. This is for everybody. They're not as high now. They even look at civil. I mean, these are pretty good. You got to be hungry when you take this exam. It's 6 hours. Get a break. We have to do some guessing. Have to study. Test is open all year round. Again, 2014, the FE was converted to a computer-based examination. Now the PE is also, and I'll get to that in other videos. Now, for tracking purposes, the test, well, this used to be divided into 4 windows. Now you can take it 3 times a year now, and it's every month. This no longer is applicable. You take it 3 times a year. There are people who've taken it 5 times, 6 times, not a year, but 5 or 6 times. Bottom line is, you only need to pass it once. Bear with me. Okay, you have testing locations, the Pearson VUE testing locations. I'm here in Indianapolis. This is in Oklahoma City. Same thing applies. 7 different examinations. I brought up to you the specifications. Read them very carefully. Decide which one you're going to take. And one thing you must understand, you can be a good test taker, you can be a bad test taker. Bottom line is, you have to find a way to pass this test, whether it's studying on your own or going through prep courses, studying in the group. This exam is very important, and I'm going to be hitting on it on all cylinders. In fact, a lot of the content I'm going to do on this channel is going to refer back to the FE examination. I'm going to work on, when I pass this thing, work on it, helping you with some problems, different types of problems. Again, it's 5 hours and 20 minutes. It's no longer 180 questions. The cost is 225. Did go down for a little bit to 175 and it went up to 225. You get about a 25-minute break at the end of each section. Now, once you complete a section, you cannot go back. And if you cannot do a problem, what you can do is flag the problem and come back to it later on. I would always start off with doing every problem, to build up their confidence, and then come back, do the harder problems, and then sometimes you got to guess, and you have to pick one letter that you have to use. I usually use C and D. Why? Because if it goes from lowest to highest, it's probably going to be C or D. If it goes from highest to lowest, it's probably going to be A or B, but I just stick with one letter. It's 25%. You're not going to get them all right. Your object is to pass it. It is 70. It's a closed book. We'll have a reference manual. It's available on a split screen. The reference manual will be available also for review, or you can purchase it on the NCEES website prior to exam. Now, I have a hard copy as well. Now, remember this, examinees will be able to bring and use an NCEES approved calculator on all these computer-based examinations. Scores. It used to be when you took the old pencil and paper exam, it took 3 months for you to get your results back. Now you get your result in an email notification from NCEES. That's NCEES, and results are usually available no more than 10 days after you take the exam. It's a pass-fail exam. If you pass the exam, it says pass. If you fail the exam, you get a diagnostic, and you can look at the areas where you need to improve. And you may only take the exam only one time per testing window and no more than 3 times in a 12-month period. That's right. You can only take it 3 times. Maybe they want more money. Maybe they'll allow you one of these days to take it 12 times. Here's the link. And what happens if you pass it? Well, after you pass it, you become what we call an EI or an EIT. And how you get that requires you to pass the exam, graduate from ABET degree program, and you can get character references from 3 people. And of course, you have to turn all of your transcripts into NCEES, and they have a record where you can keep everything. So when you go take your PE, you already have a record there, and they can pull the information from your record. So you don't have to go out and get a bunch of character references. You'll have it all there, and you can put your work experience there as well. All right, just a review. For licensure, pass the FE exam, graduate from an ABET program with a degree in engineering or engineering technology, 4 years of progressive engineering experience following the date of the degree that you receive. Pass the PE exam. Once you pass the FE, it is good forever, and the pay and the pass rate is much higher for those who are in school. Again, principles and practice examinations, known as the PE. You can take all of these. Now, there's some of them now. The ones highlighted in yellow, you can take them all year round. And of course, you have more modules too. Ones in white, take them once a year. Used to be with the PE, you could take it. Well, you used to, believe it or not, with the FE, you could take it in April or October. Same with the PE. But now you can take certain PEs all year round, but PEs like architectural or nuclear, you can take them every October. And that's it. If you have questions, you can leave all of your questions in my comment section. And again, what I'm here to do is give you information on how important it is to pass the FE examination. You do not want to get stuck in a job that you are, and this is just my biased opinion, you don't want to get stuck in a technician position for the rest of your life, unless that's what you want to do. Now, I'm not criticizing it, but the money is having that license. And when you go apply for jobs, particularly with the government, they're not always looking for technicians. They're a dime a dozen. They're looking for engineers. Why? Because an engineer can do technician work if he or she has done it before. So bottom line, I'm just going to say this. Take the FE examination. That is the first line or the first part of the process to becoming a licensed engineer. Very important. It is hard, yes, but it can be done. And all you have to do, yes, it's $225. The NCES, now I will say this, NCEES will gladly take your money, but you only have to pass it one time. And once you pass it, talking about the FE examination, it is good forever. And that concludes this topic on the fundamentals of the engineering examination. If you like what I just presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. And if you're looking for some political and social content, check out my main channel, 411 Talk Zone Radio Show channel. Now, here's where you can find me. For the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show channel, you can find me on YouTube, X formerly Twitter, Truth Social, and Rumble. And for the QCIS channel, you can find me right here on YouTube, X formerly Twitter, and LinkedIn. And once again, thank you for viewing and listening to this topic on the importance of the fundamentals of engineering examination right here, QCIS channel. You get your daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and math. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. I want you all to have a wonderful and gracious evening.